They say marriage is 50-50, but 50-50 of what exactly? Welcome to Vibe and Verdict, the space where we talk about real life, emotions, and real experiences. I'm your host, Amaya, and today we're starting with something many people don't talk about enough. Is marriage 50-50? They say marriage is 50-50. 50-50 of what exactly? Now, let's be honest, men do contribute in marriage. They provide, they protect, they take on responsibility. There's pressure on a man to show up, to make sure things are working, to make sure the home is stable. Some men go out every day, work hard, push themselves, because now it's not just about them anymore. And that matters, that is real, and that should never be ignored. But the question is, are these things equal to what a woman gives? Because for a woman, marriage doesn't just start with gain. Sometimes it starts with loss. For a woman, marriage doesn't just begin at I do. It begins with leaving the home that knew her first, the space where she didn't have to explain herself, the people who already understood her without effort, and then she walks into a new family. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she's still trying to find where she stands. And here comes the part nobody can share with her. Pregnancy, her body, the stretching, the discomfort, the silent fear. Her body stretches, changes, shifts in ways she cannot control. Sleepless nights, discomfort, fear, all happening inside of her alone. And she expected to carry everything else. And childbirth, a moment where her life is literally at risk. Pain that cannot be shared, risk that cannot be transferred. A line between life and death that only she stands on. And after all that, she's expected to still show up, to nurture, to love, be emotionally available, even while she's still trying to find herself again. To hold everything together like nothing in her has shifted. Sometimes, she pauses her dreams, not because she stopped wanting them, but because something else needed her more. And beyond the big moments, there are the everyday sacrifices we don't always talk about. The kitchen becomes part of her life, not as a hobby, but as a responsibility she carries almost daily. She shows up, cooks, provides, nurtures, even on days she's tired, even on days she's overwhelmed, even on days life is not making sense for her. Even when she is struggling internally, she still finds a way to pour into someone else. Because for many women, love is not just what they feel, it's what they do consistently, even when it's inconvenient. So when we say 50-50, are we comparing provision to transformation? Are we comparing responsibility to losing parts of yourself? And this is not to say one is more important than the other, but they are not the same. Because one is often external and the other is deeply personal. One can be measured, the other is felt. And that's where the imbalance begins to show. There's a woman who shared something once. She said, I entered marriage believing it was 50-50 because that's what everyone says. So she gave naturally, she adjusted, she supported, she showed up fully. She moved into his world, learned his people, carried his children, and at some point, she realized something quietly. She was the one constantly bending, constantly giving more of herself to keep things stable. Not because he was a bad man, but because that's what the structure demanded from her. And then she started questioning marriage, the visible and the invisible. Then maybe the question is not just who gives more, but how we can make what we give feel equal. Because if a woman is giving her body, her time, her identity, her daily effort, then what a man can give in return is not just provision, it's presence, it's emotional support, it's paying attention. It's creating a space where she doesn't feel like she has to carry everything alone. It's noticing when she's tired, even when she doesn't say it. It's reminding her that she is not just needed, but valued. Letting her know she's seen, respected, acknowledged, loved, and cared for, helping her carrying out responsibility and praying for her. So maybe marriage is not always 50-50, and maybe it's about understanding what each person is truly given, and making sure that in the process of loving, no one is quietly losing themselves. Because love should not feel like sacrifice on one side and comfort on the other. But that's just one perspective. Do you believe marriage is truly 50-50, or does one person give more than the other? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. What's your vibe? What's your verdict?